Welcome back, everyone, to C-Town Garage. I'm your host, Seth. Today, we're going to be talking about doing a manual transmission swap on my 2010 Crown Victoria Police Interceptor. So, you're probably wondering why I'm staring at a transmission that doesn't have an extension housing, or tail housing to some of you, in front of me here. Well, what I've got, this is a 1996 to 1998 Mustang GT T45 manual transmission. And what we have to do is we have to make some changes to this transmission to make it work in my 2010 Crown Victoria. Now, if you're manually swapping a Crown Victoria, Grand Marquis, Towncar, whatever, this application is only going to work for you if you have the electronically driven speedometer. So no cable or the older style with the VSS system. This is strictly for, I believe, 2006 to 2011. So don't quote me for sure, but I believe that's what this will work for. Anyway, this 96 to 98 transmission had the old style. So it had the plastic gear with the plastic gear on the end of the sensor that gets driven. We can't have that in a 2006 to 2011 Crown Victoria or this particular application. So how do you go about making your early T45 work in a later model Crown Victoria, Towncar, Grand Marquis, Panther Platform Car? Well, first off, you can go online and you can buy a device called a SpeedCal. I've done a little bit of research. I have never personally owned one, so I don't know for sure how accurate this information is. This is simply just what I have read. You basically take that computer, it plugs into the original sensor, and then it hooks up to your vehicle via the PCM or whatever, and you have to do calculations and stuff on that computer to make sure that your tire rotations are equal to what it's going to read on your speedometer. Now, I have heard that they can be kind of flaky and not work 100% all the time. I've also heard that, say you change tire sizes. So let's say I'm running that 195 whatever, or yeah, 195 70 14 tire, and I want to run that 295 50 15 instead. Okay, they're gonna be pretty close, all right? But with my current application, for me to change that, all I have to do is grab my SCT tuner, go into my settings, and physically just change what I want my tire rotation to be, to make sure my speedometer is correct. So what I'm saying, and I'm not saying you can't go and get the SpeedCal, I'm just trying to save you some money, because that SpeedCal is like $150 to $200 in early 2025 as of right now. What I'm going to do here is a fraction of the cost of what that SpeedCal system is, and you don't have to worry about an extra computer that you've got to hide somewhere in your car. So that leads me into, well, Seth, what do we have to do to make this work? Well, obviously, we're going to go and we're going to find a 1999 to early 2001 Mustang GT with a T45, and we're going to snag the extension housing, the OSS sensor, and this little tone ring. And you might be asking, well, how come we got to do that? Well, when Ford switched to the OSS system, that's pretty much the same system as what you've got running in your Crown Victoria. It literally will be plug and play, and all you'll have to do is the exact same thing I do now. Grab your handheld tune or tuner, because in order to manual swap your Vic, you're going to have a tune, so you're going to have this tuner. And all you have to do is go in there and plug in what your ratio is. There's plenty of websites online or whatever to where you can be like, hey, I've got a 195 70 14 what's my revolutions per mile on that tire? And it's going to tell you. It's going to be like, oh, it's 150 revolutions per mile. That's just a guess. I don't know off the top of my head what it actually is, but whatever. So you're going to have that number. And then you go into your tuner, you go into revolutions per mile, and you scroll down and you go, oh, boom, 150. Click it in, set it, send it to the vehicle, and as soon as you fire it up and you go drive it down the road, your speedometer is going to be dead accurate, ready to go for this. So, and all you have to do to make this early transmission, 96 to 98, work in your manual swapped Panther platform is literally go to a salvage yard and tell them, I'm looking for a 99 to 2001 Mustang GT tail housing with the tone ring. And that's what you're going to get. That is literally it. And it's not hard to do. I did this. I took this off of a transmission. I took that off of the transmission. And here we are. I have to do some cleaning, get some automatic transmission rated RTV to put on here. And we're ready to go back in together. And then I can start this swap. You know, now, in order to do this, to get to this point, I can tell you it's not that hard. Literally, to get to this stage, you need a 13 millimeter socket. Shallow is preferred to get all of the extension housing bolts out. Okay. You need a 10 millimeter to unbolt the sensor on the side. That is the same for both the VSS style or this OSS style. Now, this can change via application. Mine, my shifter, used 11 millimeter hex head bolts in it. Now, the transmission I took this car off of had Allen head cap screws on it. I can't remember what size they were in it. So that can vary, just depending on what you got. And then, obviously, you can take your mount off if you want to get clearance, because if you're taking this off in a car, you're going to have to drop the cross member, and then, you know, like I took it out of a Mustang GT, so there's the Mustang GT trans mount, and these two bolts, or studs, excuse me, they go into the cross member. Those had 17 millimeter nuts on them, okay? And then the two bolts that screw in to the actual cast part of the housing here are 16s. Those are 16 millimeters, sorry. Okay, so you're up to a 13 mil, 16 mil, a 10 mil, and then potentially, like I said, I used an 11. Could be cap screws, could be Allen head screws, could be whatever for the shifter. So I don't exactly know for sure there. It just depends on the application. Okay. You get to the point where, you know, you're basically like this. This is sitting on there. It's unbolted. Everything. It's sitting on the transmission. Okay. So you are like. Oh, okay. Well, it wants to be difficult for me right now. But, okay, so extension housing on the transmission. This shift shaft would be up and through here, you know, obviously. And then you're going to have, this guy is going to be in here. Oh, sorry, helps if you can see. So this guy is going to be in here like this, okay? You know, obviously it'll be up here. The shift shaft will be through a little ways. Anyway, you're ready to take this part off because you need to take it off to get the extension housing off. All you have to do is you need to get a 3/16 roll punch, a roll pin punch, like what I've got right here. A roll pin punch has, come on, focus. You can see it's got that little dimple on the end that goes down inside the roll pin and keeps it from mushrooming the end. And obviously right there, it's a 3/16. You're going to drive that roll pin through all the way. And then this guy is going to be free to move. I was told when you remove this, you make sure you leave the shaft, the selector shaft here that this guy goes through. Make sure you leave it in neutral. I was just told to do that. I don't know how serious it is, but that's what I was told. So you leave it in neutral. Roll pins drove out. And now you can get a pry bar or a screwdriver or whatever. And Ford actually has cast provisions. So this is at the top left corner of the transmission. You've got a spot here. And then you've got another one back here. I don't know if you can see that. I might have to back up a little. Right back there, you can kind of see the notch. That's on the bottom right corner of the transmission. You can get in there and you can break the seal, because it's just RTV. You can break the seal on it and get it free to where you can pull it. So now you are free and you are ready to start sliding this off. But when you start pulling up on this, it's a really good idea to try and hang on to this as you're pulling up, because on the back, see that big hole right there? That big hole houses this spring, and there is a check ball that is underneath it. So you figure this guy goes in like this, the spring slides into that big hole, and then the ball is right underneath, because it lives right in those detents right there. And if you're not hanging on to that piece in question, it's going to come flying out of there, and you're going to lose the spring and the ball, and you're going to be kicking yourself in the behind because you lost that stuff because you didn't hang on to it. But once you get that free, and the other thing I would do strongly is I would take the sensor out when removing it, because I don't know if it would actually hit anything, but I know for sure on like the old style transmission sensor, it'll get caught up on the plastic gear that's on the output shaft and it'll break things or whatever. So peace of mind, just take the sensor out. But once you get that all free, this guy literally just slides right off, just like that. And you're literally to the point where you can take the tone ring off or the plastic gear or whatever, and all that is, you've got a C-clip like this that's right here. You take that C-clip off, which you can see right there. Take that C-clip off, and then if it's the plastic gear, you just take a punch. Well, both of them. You would take a punch and just slowly knock it up until it gets here, and then it slides right off. Same thing with the tone ring. You got to be kind of gentle, but yet firm at the same time with driving it off. And you would just drive it off. Then going back together is the same thing. You drop the tone ring on, you got to knock it down a little bit with a punch, firm but gentle at the same time. Put the C-clip on in reverse order of how you took it apart. So with that, I hope this helps and makes your life a lot easier when you're trying to do a T45 swap using an early T45 transmission in your Panther Platform car, preferably 06 to 2011. So hopefully this helps. Hope you guys tune in for more videos. And with that, I'll see you guys next time.